Fortunately, the actor who played them both, Tim McInnerny, can turn his hand, and indeed his voice, to all sorts, including assuming a hero's mantle in this radio adaptation of a literary classic. As the intrepid Allan Quatermaine, he sets off on an adventure that is part treasure hunt and part psychological drama. All rendered in a kaleidoscope of sound. So let's get digging, because we need to find King Solomon's mines.
To the ends of the earth. King Solomon's Mines. Adapted from the Rider Haggard novel by Chris Harrald. Episode 1.
My dear Harry, I am so sorry for so many things. I am so sorry I have seen but little of you all these years. So sorry to have missed you growing up and changing. I have traveled, traded, mined, hunted, but hardly ever made it to your birthdays. We never had the conversations we should have had. And now I must write to tell you that it seems that I shall never see you again. I owe you, Harry, an account of things, a reckoning, and here it begins. 3 weeks ago, I led a party into the jungle at Barangwato, a bunch of amateur hunters from the home counties. I resolved to return to Natal by the SS Dunkeld, then lying in the Cape Town docks.
The Dunkeld?
Berth 3, sir. She sails in half an hour. You're on the embarkation list, sir?
Allan Quatermaine.
Mr. Quatermaine. Ah, yes. Cabin 27. Baggage, sir?
Only what I'm carrying. Now, here was a strange thing, Harry. As I boarded the Dunkeld, I noticed behind me the most ill-assorted pair of men I have ever seen. They seemed to be questioning the purser and looking furtively in my direction. A small, plump fellow, immaculately turned out, and beside him, a huge-chested man, long arms, thick yellow hair, made me think of a Viking. I could have sworn I saw them earlier near my hotel. But what business did they have with me? Then, damn it all, they followed me onto the ship. I hid in a doorway and overheard their conversation.
Cabin 27, that's what the fellow said.
But he didn't seem to be heading for the cabins. Let's split up.
All right.
Who were those two? Some feud from the past? Thieves supposing me to be rich? Was I imagining all this? Hardly. I have all the imagination of a 6-foot-long plank of wood, as your mother Mary, God rest her soul, used to rejoice in telling me. What was I to do? I deployed my fine-honed trekking skills, Harry, to make my way to the bar. No ice. Thank you. That's better. I found myself a quiet corner where I sat and watched a pendulum on the wall, which swung slowly backwards and forwards as the vessel rolled, and marked the angle she touched at each lurch.
The pendulum's wrong, you know. It's not properly weighted.
It was the small, plump fellow who addressed me. Indeed. Now, what makes you think that?
Oh, it's not a question of thinking. If the ship had really rolled to the degree that thing pointed to, then she would never have rolled again. Flat-bottomed old thing that she is, that's all. But it's just like these merchant skippers. They're always so confoundedly careless, you know. Captain John Good, Royal Navy, at your service. And you, sir?
I rather think you know who I am, Captain John Good of the Royal Navy, at my service, since I saw you and your warrior-like companion making inquiries about me earlier.
Ah. Yes, Sir Henry and I have been at some pains to find you.
Sir Henry?
Sir Henry Curtis. He and I, the two of us.
I can't count, Captain Good.
Well, of course. Your reputation... Let me explain. Hunter Quatermaine. No one knows Africa like you do.
There may be a few African gentlemen with an equal claim, but go on.
Yes, I am I'm not rubbing you up the wrong way, am I?
Just what is it you want from me, you and your Viking warrior friend?
I take it you mean me, Mr. Quatermaine. Your observation is accurate, sir. We Curtises come from Danish stock. Henry Curtis. Pleasure to meet you.
I think you mean a pleasure to track me down.
Your drink, Mr. Quatermaine. Let me refresh it.
If you insist.
And then let us go through to dinner together. You will be my guest.
Oh, I hardly think...
Come, sir. At least satisfy the curiosity we must have aroused in you.
Very well. Well, gentlemen, a memorable meal. We've talked about everything from my elephant hunting exploits to relations with the Boers. But what we haven't talked about is what you want with me.
The year before last, about this time, you were, I believe, at a place called Bamangwato to the north of the Transvaal.
Yes, I've traded there regularly, led hunting parties. Part of my life that now draws to a close.
Yeah. Did you happen to meet a man called Neville there?
Neville. Let me think.
Yes, Neville.
Oh, I recall. He broke his journey with me for a fortnight to rest his oxen before going on to the interior. I had a letter from a lawyer a few months back asking me if I knew what had become of him, which I answered to the best of my ability at the time.
Mr. Neville, this was not his real name. He was my brother, George. He was my only and younger brother, and until 5 years ago, George and I were as close as peas in a pod, but then a misfortune befell us. We quarreled bitterly, and in my careless anger, I behaved unjustly to my brother.
Damn shame.
As I dare say you know, if a man dies intestate and has no property but land, it all descends to his eldest son. It so happened that just at the time when George and I quarreled, our father died. He had put off making his will until it was too late. The result was that George was left without a penny. I inherited. And of course it was my duty to provide for him, but the quarrel between us was so bitter that I did not, to my disgrace, offer to do anything. Almost through carelessness, I let our relationship grow cold. Do you understand me, Mr. Quatermaine?
I understand you very well, Sir Henry. I have a son, Harry, and I have allowed a distance to grow between us.
Harry. It's a good name, Harry.
Well, George had a few £100 to his account at the time. Without saying anything to me, he drew out this paltry sum and, having adopted the name of Neville, started off for South Africa in the wild hope of making a fortune.
Madness.
Some 3 years passed, and though I wrote several times, I heard nothing of my brother. I found out, Mr. Quatermaine, that I would have given anything to know that my brother George, the only relation I possess, was safe and well, and that I should see him again. I set inquiries on foot.
So that letter was from you? And you decided to come out and look for him yourself?
And Captain Good was so kind as to come with me.
Nothing else to do, you see. 20 years of my life devoted to the Navy, then turned out to starve on half pay. An economy measure. Waist tightening, they call it.
Your letter in reply to me, Mr. Quatermaine, was short and formal in the extreme. Now, please, tell me what you know of George, for I sense you do know more.
What I heard, it's a little fantastic, and I have never repeated it. And I'm not sure I want to now.
Go on, man.
Very well. I heard that Neville, your brother George, was heading for King Solomon's mines.
King Solomon's mines? But they really exist?
Diamonds beyond counting. Rubies too, they say.
And where in Africa?
I don't deal in fantasies. I deal in facts. To the first of your questions, Sir Henry, do they really exist? I don't know. To the second, I know where they are said to be. Once I saw the peaks of the mountains that are said to border the mines, but there were 130 miles of desert between me and them, and I am not aware that any man ever got across it, save perhaps one. But the best thing I can do is to tell you the legend of Solomon's Mines as I know it.
Go ahead.
In the Suleiman Mountains, up to the northwest of the Mushakulumbwe country, so the rumors say, this is where King Solomon had his diamond mines. Suleiman being a corruption of Solomon.
Diamond mines. The exact sort of thing that would set my poor brother dreaming.
I heard this a long time ago, and filed it away amongst the many romances in which this country is so rich. But it was not until 20 years later that the story acquired more substance. I was in the Manika country, a place called Sitanda's Kraal. Worst place in the world.
Signor Quatermaine, it is I, José Silvestre.
My God, Silvestre, what's happened to you?
I tried to go there, to the Suleiman Mountains.
I had met him before, a distinguished-looking Portuguese gentleman, lured by tales of diamonds.
Water, for the love of Christ, water.
But now, he was a skeleton. His large, dark eyes stood nearly out of his head. No flesh to speak of on his face, just yellowing skin. His lips were cracked. His tongue was swollen and black.
I'll tell you.
Well, lie down and rest.
I shall rest soon. I shall rest for all eternity. You have been good to me. I want to give you this, the greatest secret in all of Africa. My great-grandfather went to them and saw them. The mines of Solomon. They're real. They're real. Help me. Under my shirt. Here, the map, and the writing that goes with it. My great-grandfather's guide to the mines. Oh, the desert. Perhaps you can make the journey which just killed me. Just killed me.
He died in my arms, gentlemen, and I buried him deep, with big boulders on his breast so that the jackals should not dig him up. That was many years ago.
Extraordinary. What a story.
A story, just that.
What is it, Quatermaine? You're holding something back.
When I met your brother George, Neville, as I knew him, I did a foolhardy thing. I told him about Silvestre. His excitement was extreme.
Huh, that's George.
I gave him the map and the documents. I warned him that I thought that they had done Silvestre nothing but harm, but he was full of plans. He would take all precautions, and so on. I fear, Sir Henry, and this is why I've been reticent, that I may have been instrumental in sending your brother to his death.
No, a man takes responsibility for his own actions. So, the map has gone.
I copied it, and key portions of the text into my commonplace book, my record of my time in Africa.
My, oh my. Splendid map.
And look, his great-grandfather's journal. I crossed the fearsome desert, nearly at the cost of my life, and then the mountains, and then in the land of the Kukuanas, with my own eyes I saw the countless diamonds stored in Solomon's treasure chamber, behind the stone table where the dead dine.
This sort of story. Silvestre could have been a trickster out to fleece the gullible of their money.
And he died to make his story look as plausible as possible. You take skepticism too far, Quatermaine.
I am going to look for my brother. I am going to trace him to Suleiman's mountains and over them, if necessary, till I find him. Or until I know that he is dead. Will you come with me?
I think you mistake me for an adventurer, Sir Henry. Look at me. Half your size, probably a tenth of your courage. I'm only alive because I'm a cautious man. I could use a stronger word. And you and Captain Good, you know nothing of this country and its dangers.
But you do, and that is exactly why I need you.
I have a son dependent upon me. I cannot risk my life so rashly.
Harry, I think you said?
Yes. He's studying to be a doctor.
Maybe I can do Dr. Harry Quatermaine a good turn, then. I am more than well off, and I am bent upon this business. You may put the remuneration for your services at whatever figure you like, and it shall be paid over to you before we start. Moreover, I will arrange that in the event of anything untoward happening to us or to you, that your son, that Harry, shall be suitably provided for, generously provided for.
Damn handsome.
You will see from this offer how necessary I think your presence.
The journey, though, a mighty enterprise into unknown territory with certain dangers I can foresee and anticipate, but other dangers I cannot foresee.
Quite an adventure.
Yeah. Adventures are for storybooks, gentlemen. This is a real and earnest business, but not, I think, my business.
Oh, where's your sense of romance, man?
My sense of romance and I, we had a parting of the ways some years ago. I think, Captain Good, that you should understand that this is not a treasure hunt, but a wild goose chase. And Sir Henry, I think you should harden your heart to the drab reality that your brother is almost certainly dead. Thank you for your hospitality. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, Quatermaine.
And so, Harry, I turned in and dreamed of the fierce-eyed lion that left me with a leg that aches in the morning, and poor Silvestre and George Curtis. And the look on your mother's face, time and again, as I left our home on yet another journey to Africa.
I hesitate to interrupt your thoughts, Quatermaine. You look quite lost in them.
I was making some calculations.
Oh, good heavens. What a coastline. Rivers sparkling down the hills.
Kloofs, clefts, eroded by the water of centuries.
Oh, marvelous scenery. And what calculations were those?
You made me think. For nearly 40 years I've hunted and traded, but I've never made more than a living. The average life of an elephant hunter from the time he takes to the trade is between 5 and 7 years. So with a little mathematics, you can see how I have beaten the odds, and how unlikely it is I shall continue to beat them.
Morning, gentlemen. Quatermaine, I was going to ask you about the tides. My almanac here is unclear about these latitudes.
Not now, good.
If anything were to happen to me, by the time my debts are paid, there would be nothing left to support my son Harry while he was starting to earn a living. Whereas he could be set up for life.
Does this mean what I think it does, Mr. Quatermaine?
I'll lead your expedition. My last expedition. My son's future will be assured, even if ours is not.
Good man.
Huzzah!
Now, listen.
Right.
I've started to make a list. A 20-foot wagon, iron axles, strong, light, made of stinkwood, half-tented. 20 Zulu oxen. There is a team I've had an eye on for some while.
Zulu oxen.
If I am to take us across the deserts, across the mountains, to King Solomon's mines, or to near certain death, whichever way you look at it, these are the first items I will need. This isn't going to be a pleasure trip, gentlemen.
What?
Your teeth!
Captain Good has an excellent set of false teeth. Sometimes in moments of excitement.
Pop out. All shipshape now, though.
Dawn tomorrow, gentlemen. After we berth, provisions, medicine, guns, and men. Dawn, the streets of Durban. I led my 2 companions through the crowds in search of what we needed.
Oh, Kafela! Sorry, my fault.
Let Bill talk. I'll take all of that. Pick out what fruit you want, gentlemen.
Oh, right.
We'll need fresh meat, too. Do you care for chicken?
Oh, why, yes.
I'll collect up a dozen of them for me, gentlemen. Now, in here, 6 tins of this. No, make it 10. 10 tins of the beans, 6 sacks of rice, and we've done business before. Give me your best price.
Let me see.
Not the price you give strangers. Yes. Don't look at me like that. Oh, this fella. Look at his fetlock. You think I'm an idiot? He'll be lame in no time. Show me the others. And so we passed through the market. My 2 companions began to see the magnitude of what lay ahead, and how important it was that they, as amateurs, should respect my professional knowledge, which, I must admit, Harry, was the effect I wanted to have on them. These matters concluded, We went outside town. Time for the guns.
Captain Good, Sir Henry, this is Ventvogel. The name means windbird, a gentleman in whom I repose considerable confidence.
At your service, Mr. Quatermaine.
Nitro, double-8 elephant guns, the number 12 central fire keeper's shotgun, the Colt revolvers. Ventvogel, the target?
The leadwood tree at the edge of the clearing.
Yes, perfect. See that tree that looks a bit like a skeleton 100 yards hence?
Yeah.
With the yellow ribbon on it. I'd like you to start with the double 500 expresses.
Oh, start what, old boy?
Firing at it. That's what one usually does with targets.
I think the captain and I both know how to shoot, Quatermaine.
I need an idea of your accuracy, your familiarity with the weapons.
Yes. Let me try that again.
Like so many would-be hunters I have led, they overestimated their skills. I hoped they would learn a lesson. And the day ended over dinner in the garden of my Durban home.
I keep a simple table, gentlemen, but I hope...
Oh, it's excellent fare.
Are all your preparations in place?
The men who will go with us, hand-picked bearers, they will, of course, include Ventvogel.
Yeah, fine fellow.
Indispensable. If we are to cross that uncrossable desert, he is our man. Tireless, tough as whipcord. Mind you, put him within reach of a bottle of gin, and heaven help us.
I have an uncle in Leamington Spa who is exactly the same. Not the whipcord bit, of course. What is it, Quatermaine?
Sir Henry, please don't react too strongly or visibly to this question. But I seem to recall you are carrying your pistol.
My pistol, yes.
As casually as possible, pass it to me under the table. Say nothing. Captain Good, just raise your glass of wine to your lips and smile affably at me. Perfect. And I have at least 2 other steady men we can depend on. But of course, we can go into those details at a later stage. You! Come out of the bushes this instant, or I'll shoot you where you stand.
Heavens! What harm does he mean us?
There is no need for your gun.
Yes, quite so. You only have to look this man in the eye. Tell us your name.
My name is Umbopa.
Your face. I know it, don't I?
The battle at the place of the Little Head.
Yes, yes. I was there under Lord Chelmsford, the First Zulu War.
Zulu War, or British War.
You've come to my home, Umbopa, in a clandestine way. What do you want?
I heard word that you are on a great expedition far into the north, a moon's journey beyond Maninka country. Is it a true word, Macumazan?
You know my Kaffir name. It translates as the man who gets up in the middle of the night, or who keeps his eyes open. Yes, the word is true.
Why do you ask where we're going?
If indeed you travel so far, O white men, I would travel with you.
And you, Umbopa, tell us of yourself.
I am of the Zulu people, yet not of them. The house of my tribe is far in the north. It was left behind when the Zulus came down here 1,000 years ago, long before Chaka reigned in Zululand. I have wandered for many years. I was Kitwayo's man in the Komabakosi regiment, where I learned to fight. I came to Natal because I wanted to see the white man's ways. Now, I would go north again. Here is not my place. I want no money, but I am a brave man, and I am worth my place and meat. I have spoken.
And well spoken, too. Right. Let me look at you properly. And you at me.
Oh, they make a good pair, don't they? Huh? One as big as the other. Never thought I'd see the day.
Umbopa, if you wish to travel with us, I would welcome you as my servant. Right-hand man, that is. Now, the journey will not be an easy one, as Mr. Quatermaine delights in reminding us.
I will travel with you, Sir Henry, and stand at your right-hand side. It is well. We are men, thou and I.
By God, damned right we are, you know. On the road, at last.
I haven't felt so alive since I don't know when. Did I ever tell you about that storm I weathered in the Azores?
Feel free to mention it again.
Huh? No!
A long and arduous journey, Harry, to Sitanda's Kraal, near the junction of the Lukanga and Kalukwe rivers. My fellow travelers were full of a distinctly irritating optimism, not an emotion I have ever been keen to embrace.
My God, look at that! Giraffes. Must be a dozen of them. What a sight.
I wonder if we could bag one.
Be careful, Captain.
What on earth do you think you're doing, Good? Put the express down.
No, I'm bagging us some supper.
You'll stampede them. Put the gun down. On the ground. Do it now. Ventvogel. Oh, dear heavens.
Quatermaine, help me.
You'll be all right. Help me here.
I didn't think. I didn't
Oh,
mean
stop
to do
talking.
what...
Boil up some water. Bring me some bandages.
Right.
Another time, Captain Good. Try thinking.
Yeah.
His ribs, look.
Yes.
The sky is turning dark.
I've got you, old friend. Try and take shallow breaths if you can. One of the best of men I've had the privilege of working with. We shall send money to his widow.
I will take it upon myself to arrange that.
I'm so damned ashamed of myself.
It's done. Nothing further to be said.
I can take my turn with the
No.
spade.
No. This is my job. At least I'll get this right.
And so, Harry, at length, for the ground was hard, we put poor Ventvogel to rest. What a pointless death. After 2 weeks' travel, our expedition finally reached Sitanda's Kraal, near the Lukanga River. To the right was a scattered native settlement with a few stone cattle kraals and some scanty patches of grain. Beyond it, the next stretch of our journey.
Gentlemen, behold this.
The desert of which you spoke.
It's a pretty endless-looking place.
An horrific place, more hostile than anywhere on Earth. You see the heat shimmering off it?
Yes, like a stove. And beyond it, that mountain there, capped in white. The Suleimanberg?
Part of the wall of mountains that defends King Solomon's mines.
Quite so. but the pair of you exasperate me. There is still that desert to cross. Be very sure that this is a journey you want to undertake.
Is it to that land thou wouldst journey, in Kubu?
It is, Umbopa, for if my brother is there, I must reach him.
Umbopa, I'm not sure about you calling Sir Henry Inkubu.
Native word, meaning elephant, I believe, referring to my size. I had some far worse nicknames at Harrow, I can tell you.
Really? You never told me.
Come. It is a far journey. We must rest.
But when we woke from our rest, everything had changed. Both the bearers and the oxen had gone.
Umbopa, I can scarcely believe this.
It is so, Mr. Quatermaine.
Sir Henry, Captain Good,
What is it?
our bearers have deserted us, taking the oxen with them.
The death of Ventvogel made them less than men.
I could have paid them more money.
It wouldn't have helped. They feared also to cross the desert that no one has crossed. Time to face facts. If we are to continue our journey and attempt that very crossing, it will be just the 4 of us. No wagons full of supplies, just what we can carry. We would have to be our own beasts of burden. Before, we had some sort of a chance. But now, I really do not know.
I will go with you into the desert and stay with you until the end, whatever that end might be. Remember, men must die. At worst, he can but die a little sooner.
Thank you for that. Well, no man in my crew has ever called me a faint heart. Onwards, say I.
Still ready to lead us, Quatermaine?
I don't know.
Umbopa and I, we shall be the beasts of burden. Load us with as much water and food as we can bear, and we shall not falter. Agreed?
Agreed.
No one has ever attempted a journey like this.
It's our chance to make it into the history books then, eh? Ha!
You people, damned impossible. We will travel at night. To cross the blazing desert in the day would bring us certain death.
And so, that evening, just before the moon arose, Sir Henry addressed us.
Now, before we start, let us for a moment pray to the power who shapes the destinies of men and who, ages since, has marked out our paths, that it may please him to direct our steps in accordance with his will.
Amen.
Amen.
So be it.
And now, trek!
Oh! God, damn bushes!
A sea of sand and karoo scrub, silvery under the moon. The night air was thick and heavy. Our night travel gave some pleasure to Captain Good.
Now look here, chaps. According to my almanac, those stars should be the Pleiades. Beautiful, don't you think?
Oh, you and your bally almanac. I know we must ration the water, but this thirst, will it never abate?
Try a pebble in the mouth.
Huh?
Old trick.
In the day, we dug a shelter in the sand and hid from the sun. The desert in daylight was like a furnace. 7 days had passed since we began this journey, and now we faced an implacable problem.
I don't mean to be a killjoy, Quatermaine, but our Cochrane's water bottles are close to empty.
We brought as much with us as we possibly could. Let's see here. We're heading towards a pool of water, 60 miles distant, or it could be less, marked on Silvestre's map.
That map is old. Is it to be relied on?
It's all we have. If the water isn't there, if the map is wrong, we will have passed the point of no return. Onwards?
Onwards.
The die is cast.
Yes.
Men must die. At the worst, he can but die a little...
A little sooner. Yes, Umbopa. I just personally prefer a little later.
You all right? Good.
Oh, yes. Me? Oh, never better. Thinking of taking a little walk, you know.
Sit down. No, come on.
Oh,
Come over here. Piled up some sand. And a sort of cushion for you. Let me help you. Down you come. That's it.
That's damn decent of you. Yes. I think a bit of sleep is in order.
I think it probably is.
2 days later, not a drop of water was left. Our lips were turning black and crusted. A very stark fate awaited us. But even in our extremity...
Oh my gosh. Look. The dawn is coming.
The dawn is coming. Oh, yes. She'll be coming down the mountain when she comes.
We were half dead, Harry. But there, not more than 50 miles from us, glittering like silver in the early rays of the morning sun, soared Sheba's breasts. 2 enormous mountains, measuring each of them at least 15,000 feet in height, linked together by a precipitous cliff of rock, and towering in awful white solemnity straight into the sky.
Sheba's breasts, just as the map showed us. Now, you chaps have never seen this. I've got to do this.
It was a ghastly moment. I said, Harry, we were half dead. But as I watched Good cavorting and the way the life had left Sir Henry's eyes, I thought we were 9/10 of the way to death.
I don't see how any of us... I've been mad.
Good. Stop that damn dancing. Stop it right now. Umbopa, what is it? What is it?
I
smell water.
What do you mean? Oh, God! I can't even stand.
I have you. The water. It is in the air.
What? In the clouds? So that in about 2 months' time the rain will fall and wash our bones.
Why don't we try the hill we've been sheltering beside? We'll climb to the top. Water in the air.
Rot. Who ever heard of water being found at the top of a hill? This is pointless.
We have no alternative.
Manzi! Here is water!
Saved!
Filthy water. But we drank it as though it were nectar fit for the gods. Then we tore off our clothes and sat down in the pool, absorbing the moisture through our parched skins.
Blissful, ain't it?
You, Harry, my boy, who have only to turn on a couple of taps to summon hot and cold from an unseen vast cistern, can have little idea of the luxury of that muddy wallow in brackish, tepid water.
Oh. Careful, Captain Good.
Thank you, Umbopa.
The next night, we began our ascent of Sheba's left breast. The slopes were formed of lava, great, jagged, sharp lumps, still burning hot from the sun of the previous day. But as we approached the snowy summit, so the cold increased. I had feared being fried to death. Now I feared we would all be frozen to death. We emerged from the snowline into a more temperate climb, found a melon patch, and shot an antelope whose meat we had to eat raw. And the landscape changed again.
Why? Champagne country, a forest, a river, another world.
Quite sealed off from the outer world, ringed in by mountains.
Well, gentlemen, the maps say nothing of this.
And look, down there, cutting through the plain.
It's pretty rum, like a Roman road.
King Solomon's Road, as the legends have it. I've never seen such an engineering work.
The road, engineered from huge blocks of dressed stone, sloped gently down to the base of a ravine, 300 feet broad and at least 100 feet deep. At one point, we heard water beneath our feet, though we saw no sign of the river over which we passed. On went the road, sublimely indifferent to natural obstacles, and we approached a towering ridge of stone. The mouth of a tunnel, amply proportioned, appeared, and 50 yards into the tunnel, we made a discovery.
Look here, you fellows.
Oh, God, my lord, what a thing.
Such carvings. Even I can see the quality. Sculptures, mailed and armed figures, chariots.
What detail. Extraordinary. A whole battle scene with a convoy of captives being marched off in the distance.
Who made this?
It's all very well to call this Solomon's Road, but my humble opinion is that the Egyptians had been here before Solomon's people ever set foot on it. If this isn't Egyptian or Phoenician handiwork, I must say it's very like it.
Midday, we emerged from the tunnel and advanced down the mountain. We came to scattered bushes which grew more and more lush, till at last the road wound through a vast grove of silver trees.
At last, some decent wood, and in quantity. Let us stop, make a fire, and cook ourselves dinner. I've had enough of raw meat.
Yeah, here. Some wood, Umbopa. Together we can make short work of this fallen branch.
Sir Henry, my pleasure.
Here, we'll build our fire by the stream. Now isn't this the thing, fellows? Well, this antelope goes down well, don't it? Little green birds in the trees.
What's Captain Good doing, Sir Henry?
Looks as though he's taking his clothes off. What a peaceful spot. I think I'm going to light a pipe.
What's he up to?
Probably going for a swim. You never know with old Good.
He reached the bank of the stream, disappeared from sight, and Sir Henry and I enjoyed our pipes. Umbopa checked our provisions. All was well with the world. Then...
Did you hear that?
A rare man, Captain Good. A man who knows how to be happy in himself, whatever fate brings to him.
Having bathed, Good now stood by the bank of the stream. He had replaced his flannel shirt, but had nothing else on. He washed his gutta percha collar, shook out his trousers, coat and waistcoat, and frowned as he scanned the numerous rents and tears in them. He took his boots, scrubbed them with a handful of fern, and finally rubbed them over with a piece of fat which he had carefully saved from the antelope meat till they looked, comparatively speaking, respectable. He then began a fresh operation.
The lunatic's trying to shave himself.
He's using the fat he applied to his boots.
And one of those little pocket razors, you know, with a guard on it. For people who don't trust themselves with a real razor. Guy's not going to get through 10 days of beard with that.
Good smeared his face and chin vigorously with the fat and began.
How can a man be so correct in this place and in our circumstances? Well, at least he's dealt with the right side of his face and chin.
Now, thank God he was using a safety razor, for I suddenly saw a flash of light that passed just by his head. Good sprang up with such force that if he had been using a straight razor, he would certainly have cut his throat. A 3-foot length of spear quivered in the trunk of a tree. On the other side of the stream, standing not more than 20 paces from where I was, and 10 paces from Good, was a group of men. Warriors.
We've seen these people before, Quatermaine. The carvings at Solomon's Road. They're tall, wearing those great plumes of black feathers and short cloaks of leopard skins. Now, who was that youth who threw the spear? Don't like the look of him. Umbopa, Quatermaine, the Winchester repeaters, at the ready.
An old man took the youth by the elbow. The moment froze. But then the party of natives advanced.
Greetings! Imikonzo!
Imikonzo, I am Infadoos, a brother to the king and his counselor. Whence came you? Who are you? And why are the faces of 3 of you white, and the face of the 4th as the face of our mother's sons?
We are strangers, and come in peace.
You lie! No strangers can cross the desert, where all things perish. But strangers you are, and you must die, for no strangers may live in the land of the Kukwanas.
It is the king's law. I am Scragga, son of King Twala, the great king, chief and lord paramount of the Kukwanas. You have violated the law. Prepare to die.
The hands of some of the men stole down to their sides, where hung on each a large and heavy knife. Others reached for their spears.
Not really the warmest of welcomes.
Too many of them. Damn shame to end like this.
Then everything changed. Good, as was his habit when perplexed, put his hand to his face, touched his false teeth, and dragged the top set down and allowed them to fly back to his jaw.
What witchcraft is this?
The Kukwanas took several fast steps backwards.
It's his teeth. He moved them. Take them out, Good. Take them out.
Good obeyed. The teeth disappeared into the sleeve of his flannel shirt. In another second, curiosity overcame fear, and the warriors advanced slowly.
How is it, O strangers, that this man, whose body is clothed, whose legs are bare, who grows hair on one side of his sickly face and not on the other, how is it, I ask, that he has teeth which move of themselves, come away from the jaws?
Open your mouth and smile. Do it, Good.
Good promptly curled up his lips and grinned at the old gentleman like an angry dog, revealing to his astonished gaze 2 thin red lines of gum, as utterly innocent of ivories as a newborn elephant.
Where are his teeth? With our eyes, we saw them!
Good turned his head, swept his hand across his mouth. He grinned again, and lo, 2 rows of lovely teeth.
I see that ye are spirits. Did ever man born of woman have hair on one side of his face and not on the other? Or teeth which moved and melted away and grew again? Pardon us, O my lords.
Pardon is granted. Nay, ye shall know the truth. We come from another world. Though we appear men such as you, we come from the biggest star that shines at night.
And why do you come?
We come to stay with you a little while, and to bless you by our sojourn.
And that man, he who has our face, did he come from the stars?
Your face, old man. It is your tribe who has borrowed my face. When I came from the stars and visited your tribe long, long ago, at a time when the mountains were mere hills.
And what a reception you give us. To throw a spear at the head of him whose teeth come and go. Should such a reception be avenged, we ask ourselves?
Could such a reception be avenged? We ask ourselves.
I don't like the way this is going, Quatermaine.
You doubt me? Very well. I will show you.
I turned to Umbopa, tipped the wink towards the express rifle.
Give me the magic tube that speaks.
It is here, O Lord of Lords.
And with something as nearly resembling a grin as I ever saw on his dignified face, Umbopa handed me the gun. Now, just before I had asked for the rifle, I saw a little clip-springer antelope standing on a mass of rock about 70 yards away, and determined to risk the shot.
You see that buck? Tell me, is it possible for man born of woman to kill it from here with a noise?
You know what you were doing, Quatermaine.
It is not possible, my lord.
Yet I shall kill it.
We shall see.
I raised the rifle and covered the buck. A small animal, and one which a man might well be excused for missing. But it wouldn't have done to miss.
Witchcraft indeed!
If you want meat, go fetch that buck. Bring it to me.
Straight through the shoulder. Good shot, Quatermaine.
Couldn't have done it better myself.
You see, I do not speak empty words. But if you yet doubt our power, let one of you go stand upon that rock that I may make him as this buck.
And all step forward at once.
No, no. My old eyes have seen enough. All the witchcraft of our people cannot show the likes of this. These are wizards indeed.
Let us bring them to the king and let him judge.
So, lead us then to Twala.
Are you sure?
It's our only way forward, into the lion's den.
The way is long, but we will lead you.
We are ready. Lead on. But Infadoos and you, Scragga, beware. Play us no tricks, for we shall know and avenge. The power of him with the bare legs and the half-haired face shall destroy you and your land. His vanishing teeth shall affix themselves fast in you and eat you up.
And so we made our way to Kukwana land. All that afternoon, we traveled along the magnificent roadway.
Infadoos, who made this road?
It was made, my lord, in ancient times. None know how or when. Not even the wise woman Gagool, who has lived since time before memory. None can fashion such roads now.
Same old story, just like the ballet sculptures. We know not who carved them so many moons ago. It's all very well for you two. You're allowed to wear your trousers.
Good was in a thoroughly ill temper. The reason, When Good started to put his trousers on earlier, the Kukuanas stopped him. They refused to let him hide his beautiful white legs from the eyes of his servants. His beautiful white legs had made him a god.
You're going to have to face it sooner or later. You have appeared in this country in a certain character, and you must live up to it. No, it will never do for you to put on trousers again. Henceforth, you must exist in a flannel shirt and a pair of boots.
For goodness sake. And with whiskers on one side of the face and not on the other. If you change any of these things, the people will think that we are not gods, but imposters. If once they begin to suspect us, our lives will not be worth a brass farthing.
You really think so?
You'll be grateful that you have your boots on and the air is warm.
Thank you for that.
More meat, my lord Quatermaine. My lord, Sir Henry.
I am full, thank you, Infadoos. Thank you, Scragga.
Strange. You are gods, but you eat like men.
We are gods who inhabit the bodies of men. These bodies are mere breaths, and we are passing shadows.
Indeed so. You make it very clear.
Infadoos, when did the Kukuana people come into this country?
My lord, our race came down here 10,000 moons ago, from the great lands which lie there beyond. They could travel no further because of the high mountains which ring the land. So says Gagool, the wise woman, the smeller out of witches.
Gagool? Oh, you will meet her in due course.
The country, too, was good. So they settled here and grew strong and powerful. And now our numbers are limitless. And when Twala the king calls up his regiments, their plumes cover the plain so far as the eye of man can reach.
They are invaders, but we slay them.
With that, Scragga left us, and Infadoos took us into his confidence.
It has been many years since there was a true war, but it was a civil war. Dog ate dog.
How was that?
My lord the king had a brother born at the same birth. It is not our custom to suffer twins to live. The weaker must die. But the mother of the king hid away the weaker child, which was born the last, and that child is Twala the king. I am his younger half-brother, born of another wife. Our father died when we came to manhood, and my brother Imotu was made king in his place, and for a space reigned, and had a son by his favorite wife. But when the babe was 3 years old, a famine came upon the land, and the people looked around like a starved lion for something to rend. Gagool, that wise and terrible woman who does not die, spoke to the people. She told them that King Imotu was no king. And at the time, Imotu was sick with a wound and lay in his kraal, not able to move. Gagool went into a hut and led out Twala, my half-brother and twin brother to the king, whom she had hidden in caves since he was born. She stripped the waist of his loins and showed the people of the Kukuanas the mark of the sacred snake coiled round his middle, wherewith the eldest son of the king is marked at birth. The king! But I knew that it was not so. For Imotu, my brother, was the elder of the twins and our lawful king. Then, just as the tumult was at its height, Imotu the king, though he was sick, crawled from his hut with his wife and little son, Ignosi. "What is this noise?" he asked. "Why cry you, the king, the king?" Then Twala, his twin brother, ran to him, took him by the hair, and stabbed him through the heart with his knife. And the people, being fickle, accepted Twala as king.
And what became of Imotu's wife and her son Ignosi? Did Twala kill them too?
No, my lord. When she saw that her lord was dead, The queen seized the child with a cry and ran away. The two of them headed towards the mountains, and there they must have perished, for none have seen them since.
Then, if this child Ignosi had lived, he would be the true king of the Kukwana people.
That is so, my lord. The sacred snake is round his middle. If he lives, he is king. But, alas, he is long dead.
Thank you, Infadoos. A sad story.
A sad story indeed.
Umbopa.
Boss.
Umbopa had evidently been listening to our conversation. Then at that moment, Sir Henry took me by the arm.
Quatermaine, look at the sun. Damned amazing.
This happens at certain seasons in Africa. You have never seen anything like it, Harry. The sun glowed as though it would explode. Then it sank and sank, and suddenly darkness rushed down on the land like a tangible thing. There was no breathing space between the day and night. The change from day to night was as quick and as absolute as the change from life to death. Then, rays of silver light, and at last the full moon lit up the plain.
Glorious, eh, Quatermaine?
Gosh, I shall have to look that up in my almanac.
Mine has been a rough life, Harry. But there are a few things I am thankful to have lived for, and one of them to have seen that moon shine over Kukwana land. Even if it is one of the last such spectacles I shall ever see.
In episode 1 of King Solomon's Mines, adapted from the Rider Haggard novel by Chris Harrald, Allan Quatermaine was played by Tim McInnerny, Sir Henry Curtis by David Sturzaker, Captain John Good by Simon Ludders, and Umbopa by Sope Dirisu. Infadoos was Maynard Eziashi, Scragga Tonderai Munyevu, Silvestre Joe Ferrara, and the officer was Finlay Robertson. King Solomon's Mines is directed by Liz Webb.
Oh, well, Liz Webb, who directed that, used to be a stand-up comedian many moons ago. And I say many moons because, well, it was when I was just starting out, and she headlined one of my first ever gigs at Manchester's famous Frog and Bucket Comedy Club. About 25 years ago, that was. She has since gone on to direct, loads of radio, and to write all sorts, and her first novel is coming out very soon. I, on the other hand, am still doing stand-up comedy. King Solomon's Mines concludes next week, as it clearly develops at a faster rate than my career. Well, it's just a solo offering tonight, but I think we all need a lie down after that anyway. I will be back tomorrow with a duo of delights. And now it is part 2 of King Solomon's Mines. Allan Quatermaine accompanies Sir Henry Curtis into uncharted African territory in search of the story's eponymous mines, and Sir Henry's brother George, who went missing on an earlier mission. Quatermaine chronicles everything for his son, because his chances of returning, he thinks, are slim. Well, let's hear if his fears are founded, as the adventure concludes.
To the ends of the earth. King Solomon's Mines, adapted from the Rider Haggard novel by Chris Harrald. Episode 2.
And so, my dear son, we continued our journey. Sir Henry, Captain Good, Umbopa and I along Solomon's Great Road on our journey to Lu, the heart of Kukwana land, where we were to meet Twala, the king who had murdered his way to power. The country grew more and more lovely. Earthly paradise, don't you think, Good?
Kukwana land, eh? Well, it beats Transvaal into a cocktail. Not that that's too difficult. Hey, what's that chap doing? running as if the devil were at his heels.
I think Infadoos has dispatched a runner to alert the people of Lu of our imminent arrival.
The speed of him.
He will keep up this speed all the way to his destination. For running is an exercise much practiced amongst his people.
Then, at last, we beheld the town.
I've never seen a native town so enormous.
Quite 5 miles round.
The road ends there, beyond the town, by the mountains known as the Three Witches.
It seems to lead into the mountains. Is that right?
Yes, it leads to a great pit with ancient mines leading off it. It is now where we bury our kings, in the place of death.
The place of death? Just as Silvestre said.
I have heard it said that in days of old, people came to these mountains to find bright stones, pretty playthings, and yellow iron. Is that true?
I know nothing of those times. Scragga, we have preparations to make.
It is strange, is it not, that my lords who have dropped from the stars, the all-knowing lords, do not already know the answers to these questions.
We know much in the stars, but not everything. Why else would we be here, if not to increase our knowledge?
Well fielded, old chap.
You must speak with Gagool the Old, she who stays at the side of the king. She is as wise even as my lord. You will meet her soon. Very soon. Come, Infadoos. We must prepare for our city to do honor to these men from the stars.
I believe, gentlemen, we have found King Solomon's mines.
By Jove.
You're right. I think, too, we have found a dangerous and implacable foe.
As we came, we saw that company after company of men were issuing from the gates of the town and marching towards us. Sir Henry laid his hand upon my arm.
But it looks as though we're going to meet with a warm reception.
The warriors charged swiftly up the rise with flashing spears and waving plumes.
The size of them. Not a man under 6 feet in height.
And the weapons. I haven't seen their like. Those spears.
The two-edged spear is not for throwing. It is a bangwan, a stabbing assegai for use in close quarters. The wounds inflicted are terrible.
The heavy knives are called tollers. The Kukuanas can cast them with great accuracy to a distance of 50 yards, and it is their custom to hurl a volley of them at the enemy as they charge upon them.
Now what? They've frozen as still as a collection of bronze statues.
Go! 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 Every spear rose into the air.
They honor us with the royal salute.
We advanced on the town. The warriors closed in on all sides, and the great gates swung shut behind us.
Amazing layout, this place, huh? Never seen anything like it.
Through the center ran a wide pathway, intersected at right angles by other pathways, so arranged as to cut the huts into square blocks, each block being the quarters of a company.
Look at the women. Hundreds of them lining the pathway. So what exactly have they all turned out for?
Us, I would imagine.
And what is Infadoos pointing to?
Your legs, Captain Good. Your beautiful white legs. For them, it is a wonder beyond all wonders.
Yes. They're all staring at my legs, damn it.
Yeah, with good reason, dear fellow.
But that girl there, did you see her? She seemed to be staring right at me. Her face, almost as if I knew her from some other place or time.
Oh, come. You saw her where? The village green at Abenjahammer?
But it was just... You're probably the... Oh, never mind.
His Majesty resided in a very large hut set on its own, surrounded by company after company of warriors, to the number of 7,000 or 8,000. These men stood still as statues as we advanced through them, and it is hard to give an adequate idea of the grandeur of the spectacle which they presented, with their waving plumes, their glancing spears, and iron-backed ox-hide shields. The silence was broken by the strangest of voices from within the hut.
Be prepared, O people, for the king is coming. He is coming.
Now, what in God's name?
The door of the hut opened, and out came a giant of a man, accompanied by Scragga and a shrunken figure wrapped in a fur cloak.
Man's a giant. But what is that beside him?
Be humble, O people, for the king is here.
That is Gagool.
And this is Twala.
Twala was a truly alarming spectacle. An enormous man. He had but one gleaming black eye, for the other was represented by a hollow in his face.
Look at that. On his brow. It's the biggest diamond you've ever seen.
You! You have dropped your shield, soldier. You dishonor your king. Come hither. So, soldier, wilt thou make me look small in the eyes of these strangers from the stars? Scragga, let me see how thou canst use thy spear. Kill me, this blundering fool.
My spear is eager for him.
No, hang on.
A good thrust. Take him away. Clean up the blood.
Oh, my God.
And welcome to you, white people, who come hither whence I know not and why I know not. Greetings from the stars, they say.
This is not to be borne.
Be silent. Let me handle this. Our lives depend upon it.
We come from the stars. Ask us not how. We come to see this land.
You journey from a great distance to see our small world. And that man with you, does he also come from the stars?
There are people of thy color in the heavens above. But ask not of matters too high for thee, Twala the king.
Remember that the stars are far off and you are here. How if I make you as him, whom they just bore away?
Oh, king, be careful. Walk warily over hot stones, lest you should burn your feet. Touch but one hair of our heads, and destruction shall come upon thee. Have you not heard what manner of men we are? Have you ever seen the like of him?
His teeth!
Has Scragga not told you how we strike with death from afar?
He has! But let me see you kill a man, and I will believe.
We do not shed the blood of men except in just punishment.
Kill me a man, and then I will believe.
Twala, I will show you the power of the magic tube.
You will?
The soldier beside you. Take his spear, if you dare, King Twala.
I dare anything.
What are you going to do?
I hope I'm going to make the best shot of my life. Extend your arm, hold it out beside you, turn the flat of the blade towards me, stay quite still, and I shall show you the magic of the stars. Absolute silence.
The bullet struck the flat of the spear and shattered the blade into fragments. The spear nearly flew out of Twala's hands, but amazingly he kept his grip on it.
You have no fear, Twala the King. We of the stars honor you.
What seek ye? Do you come for bright stones? And thou with the darkest skin and the proud bearing, who art thou? And what seekest thou?
Touch me not, Gagool.
Not stones that shine, not yellow metal that gleams. Methinks I know thee. Methinks I can smell the smell of the blood in thy heart.
Gagool has spoken strange words. What say you?
We keep our own counsel.
Tonight is the great hunt and the great dance. I would have you see them. Yes, I would have you be there.
Infadoos, we would speak with thee.
Let my lords say on.
It seems to us, Infadoos, that Twala the king is a cruel man.
It is so, my lords. Alas, the land cries out because of his cruelties. Tonight you shall see. It is the great witch hunt, and many will be smelt out as wizards and slain.
A witch hunt?
No man's life is safe. If the king covets a man's cattle, or a man's wife, or if he fears that a man should excite a rebellion against him, then Gagool, whom ye saw, will smell that man out as a wizard, and he will be killed.
Then why is it, Infadoos, that the people do not cast him down?
If he were killed, Scragga would reign in his place, and the heart of Scragga is blacker than the heart of Twala, his father. If Imotu had never been slain, or if Ignosi, his son, had lived, it might have been otherwise. But they are both dead.
How do you know that Ignosi is dead?
What meanest thou?
Listen, Infadoos, and I will tell you a story. Years ago, the king Imutu was killed in this country, and his wife fled with the boy Ignosi. Is it not so?
It is so.
It is said that the woman and her son died upon the mountains. Is it not so?
It is even so.
Well, it came to pass that the mother and the boy Ignosi did not die. They crossed the mountains and were led by a tribe of wandering desert men across the sands beyond, till at last they came to water and grass and trees again.
How do you know this, Umbopa?
They traveled on and on, many months' journey, till they reached a land where a people called the Amazulu, who are also of the Kukuana stock, lived by war. And with them they tarried many years, till at length the mother died. Then the son, Ignosi, became a wanderer again, and journeyed into the land where white people live, and for many more years he learned the wisdom of the white people.
A pretty story.
Pretty unlikely story.
He lived there, working as a servant and a soldier, but holding in his heart all that his mother had told him of his own place, and seeking to return to it. For long years he waited, and at last the time came, as it ever comes to him who can wait for it. And he met some white men who would seek this unknown land, and joined himself to them. The white men sought for one who was lost. They crossed the burning desert, they crossed the snow-clad mountains, and at last reached the land of the Kukuanas. And they found thee, O Infadoos.
You are possessed to talk thus.
I will prove my words, my uncle.
Uncle?
I am Ignosi, rightful king of the Kukuanas.
Hey!
See here, around my waist.
Great snake.
Goom! Goom! It is my brother's son. It is the king.
Did I not tell thee, my uncle? Rise. I am not yet the king, but with your help, and with the help of these brave white men who are my friends, I shall be. Yet, the old witch Gagool was right. The land shall run with blood first, and hers shall run with it, if she has any, and can die. For she killed my father with her words, and drove my mother forth. And now, O Infadoos, choose. Will you put your hand between my hands, and be my man? Will you share the dangers that lie before me, and help me to overthrow this tyrant and murderer, or will you not? Choose.
Ignosi, rightful king of the Kukuanas, I put my hand between your hands and am your man till death. When thou was a babe, I dangled thee upon my knees. Now shall my old arm strike for thee and freedom.
It is well, Infadoos. If I conquer, thou shalt be the greatest man in the kingdom after its king. If I fail, thou canst only die, and death is not far from thee. And you, my friends, will you help me? What have I to offer you? The white stones. If I conquer and can find them, you shall have as many as you can carry hence. Will that suffice you?
Umbopa, King Ignosi, our respects to you. I came here for my brother, not for white stones. But I will stand by you in this matter. It will be very pleasant to me to try to square things with that cruel devil Twala. What do you say, Good?
I am with you. I only have one stipulation.
Tell me.
That I am allowed to wear trousers.
Oh, even I may not be able to overcome the will of the people. And what say you, Macumazahn? Are you also with me, old hunter, cleverer than a wounded buffalo?
I don't like revolutions. I'm a man of peace, and a bit of a coward. On the other hand, I stick up for my friends, and I will stick by you. But I am a trader, and have to make my living. So I accept your offer about those diamonds. I do have a stipulation that you must help us find Sir Henry's lost brother.
That I will do. Infadoos, by the sign of the snake about my middle, tell me the truth. Has any white man, to thy knowledge, set his foot within the land?
None.
Thou hearest, Sir Henry. He has not been here.
Well, there it is. I suppose that he never got so far. Poor fellow. So it has all been for nothing.
Now for business. It is very well to be a king by right divine, Umbopa, but how do you propose to become a king indeed?
I know not. Infadoos, hast thou a plan?
Tonight, very soon, is the great witch hunt. Many shall be smelt out and perish, and there will be grief and anguish and fury against the King Twala. And then the sacrificial dance. When the dance is over, then I will speak to some of the great chiefs who in turn, if I can win them over, will speak to their regiments. Or perhaps you men from the stars have a more powerful plan.
I think I do have a plan, Infadoos, that can help you rally support from the great chiefs. And it does indeed involve the stars. Nearest, damn it.
The troops are being summoned. The witch hunt is about to begin.
We shall take our revolvers, I think, should events turn against us.
3 revolvers against thousands of Kukuana. Futile.
And if I haven't got this quite right, it will cost us our lives. Let me explain.
The great crowd. What a scene.
20,000 men, I would say. Arranged in regiments, in turn divided into companies, and between each company runs a little path.
To allow for the witch-finders to pass up and down.
Is the whole army here, Infadoos?
Nay, but a third of it.
The killing. Will many be killed?
Very many.
It seems we are going to assist at a gladiatorial show.
You see, from the royal hut.
Twala, Scragga, Gagool.
And those who slay.
There emerged a little group of about a dozen gigantic men, armed with spears in one hand and heavy daggers in the other. The king seated himself upon the center stool. Gagool crouched at his feet, as a cat might.
Greetings, white lords. Be seated. Waste not precious time. The night is all too short for the deeds that must be done. You come in a good hour. and shall see a glorious show.
Begin! Begin! What is the lot of man born of woman?
From out of the masses of warriors, strange and awful figures appeared, running towards us. They were women, aged, their white hair streaming out behind them.
These are the Eziashi, the witch-finders.
With a wild yell, Gagool's horrid ministers broke away in every direction, the dry bones round their waists rattling as they ran, and headed for various points of the dense human circle.
Smell him. Hear the thoughts of him who thought evil of the king.
Creeping and crouching with outstretched wand in her hand, the Eziashi slid amongst the frozen soldiers.
I can hardly watch this.
Suddenly the end came. With a shriek, she sprang in and touched a tall warrior with her forked wand. Instantly, two of his comrades seized the doomed man, each by one arm, and advanced with him towards the king.
One!
Hardly was the thing done before another poor wretch was brought up, like an ox to the slaughter. This time we could see from the leopard skin cloak which he wore that the man was a person of rank. And so the deadly game went on, and the bodies piled up. Then matters took a very different turn.
Damn it all. Gagool is coming this way. Hang me if I don't believe she is going to try her games on us. Your plan, good.
My hands are tied by time itself. We can do nothing for at least a quarter of an hour.
Nearer she came, all eyes in the vast assemblage upon her. At last she stood still and pointed.
Umbopa, I knew this moment would come.
Kill him! He is full of evil! Kill the stranger!
O king, this man is the servant of your guests. By the sacred law of hospitality, I claim protection for him.
Gagool, mother of the witch-finders, has smelt him out. And he must die, white men.
He who tries to touch him shall die indeed.
Seize him!
Stand back! If you would see tomorrow's light, touch one hair of his head, and your king dies. Well, what is it to be, Twala?
Put away your magic tubes. You have adjured me in the name of hospitality, and for that reason, but not from fear of what you can do. I spare him, for now.
It is well. We are weary of slaughter, and would sleep.
Let these dead men be flung out to the hyenas and vultures. And now, after the witch hunt, the dance.
Umbopa,
I am grateful and shall not forget.
No, I don't like it. That was too easy. And look, Twala is gathering some of his senior men about him. Our troubles are far from over.
Let the dance begin!
Flower-crowned girls sprang forward in companies, waving delicate palms and white lilies.
They seem to be taking turns performing for our benefit.
Yes. Isn't that the girl I saw earlier when we entered Lou?
Girl after girl took her turn dancing. And then Twala lifted his hand and stared at us with an expression I could not fathom.
You have seen the dance of the maidens, O white men from the stars. Which of them deem ye the fairest?
Be careful how you answer, for I think there is no right answer to this question.
The fairest? No doubt about it in my mind. Her.
It is the nature of the dance that the fairest be offered up for sacrifice.
Sacrifice?
She must die!
But why, O king? She has danced well and pleased us.
It is our custom. Did I fail to put the fairest girl to death today, misfortune would fall upon me and my house.
She must die!
Bring her hither, Scragga!
My spear is eager to pierce her, father.
No, I don't think so, Scragga. What is your name? You who dance the best.
I am Fulata. Please, I am not the fairest. It is not my destiny to die today.
Fulata. That's a pretty name. It suits you well. Walk over here to me.
The girl is ours.
We shall not give you the girl.
Here you are, Fulata. What a pretty necklace of flowers, huh? Got some like that in my garden.
That girl is ours!
It shall not be. Come but one pace nearer, and we gods will put out the moon like a wind-blown lamp and plunge your land into darkness.
You sure about this, Good?
I told you, I read about it in my almanac. On July the 4th, the moon passes directly behind the Earth into its shadow.
Your eclipse of the moon, where is it?
Should be happening right now, but it seems to be late. It's made me worry that it isn't visible in these latitudes in South Africa.
But the almanac...
The almanac isn't too clear on that point. Oh.
He lies! Let him do as he promises, or die with the girl and those with him!
Look, gentlemen.
I looked up into the skies and saw that Good and his beloved almanac had made no mistake. On the edge of the great orb lay a faint rim of shadow, while a smoky hue grew and gathered upon its bright surface. The bright surface began to dim.
The moon is dying! The white wizards have killed the moon!
No man can put out the moon! This will pass! I have seen the like before!
The blood-colored sky grew darker still, and so too did fear and panic grow.
This is our moment, Infadoos. Let us gather the chiefs.
I will make it so. I will restore your kingdom to you.
Ah! It is all a trick! These men, they do not come from the stars! They are like us! You will see when I show you their blood! Ah!
Scragga hurtled towards us, spear jutting out before him. Sir Henry stepped forward, apparently indifferent to the danger.
Now, see how you like it, Scragga.
My son! My son! No!
Run, gentlemen. The blood-like light had almost gone. Panic was total. We took shelter in an empty hut as people ran hither and thither. Infadoos went to assemble the chiefs and troops loyal to Umbopa's cause. And we knew that Twala must be gathering his opposing troops to try and crush us.
So, Macumazane, the battle is coming to us, and I would know your counsel.
Twala's troops will outnumber ours.
He is a monster, but monsters can command great loyalty, so, yes.
In which case, a strong defensive position has to be the way we approach matters. Defense, as they say, can be the best form of offense. Just outside Lu is a large flat-topped hill shaped like a horseshoe. That would serve.
So be it.
Dawn broke on the horseshoe hill. Our troops had assembled a formidable body of men. But surrounding the horseshoe hill, a sea, an ocean of warriors, plumes on their heads, knives and spears shining. How many, Infadoos?
Ours or theirs. The chiefs have brought us 18,000 men. Everyone will give their lives to see Twala brought down.
And Twala's warriors?
I would say some 35,000 of them.
And they will give their lives to see us brought down?
Without a second's thought.
Right.
We'll have to fight twice as hard. Quatermaine, you're looking a bit glum.
Me? Not at all. Long, ant-like columns of warriors were joining those who already surrounded our horseshoe hill. God, there seemed no end to them.
They are going to attack on 3 different fronts.
You're right, probably all 3 fronts simultaneously.
I shall ask each of you to join one of our 3 flanks. It will inspire our men.
If you really think so, be an honor. We'd better shake hands, gentlemen. In case, well, you know.
God bless you, chaps. Good luck to us all. A mass of struggling warriors. Men fell as fast as leaves in an autumn storm. I used my rifle to some advantage, but soon the ammunition was gone. I fought hand to hand with a toller, the ferocious knife peculiar to the Kukuanas, and the blood raged through my veins. A young fellow came at me. His eyes, Harry, were close together, and he had tufts of face hair, and there were smears of white stuff, ground maize in his hair, and he came at me with terrible abandon, and the blood in my veins quietened, and I became filled with all the calm of an iceberg. I smote him 3 times, and down he went, the fellow who had just had maize for breakfast. About your age, Harry. May my soul be damned. How can men love war? How can men overthrow one such as Twala without going to war? As for the warriors who fought for Umbopa, so many of them went to certain death, about to quit the blessed light of day forever, and yet able to contemplate their doom without a tremor. Magnificent, terrible, an impossible battle. But at dreadful cost, we held off Twala's hordes.
They're pulling back.
No! Look! They are regrouping.
We are weakened. Our troops call for rest, yet we are trapped on this hill, and our supplies run short.
Sir Henry, thank goodness.
We're all in one piece.
Infadoos, Umbopa. There is only one way forward. To attack now, with no delay. It will not be expected.
The fiercest of battles. Each side knew what was at stake.
Take that, you damned villain!
Good was a revelation, fearless in combat. Infadoos and Umbopa fought side by side, the old warrior as powerful in battle as the young one. Sir Henry fought like one of his Viking ancestors, sword in one hand, axe in the other. Then, coming through the tangle of fighters...
Where art thou, Inkubu? The man killed my son, Scragga! Where art thou?
I'm here, King Twala, whenever you're ready.
It was like seeing the gods of Olympus clash. Sir Henry seemed to stumble, and my heart was in my mouth, but it was a bluff. And as Twala came forward, Sir Henry swung his axe with an extraordinary force and speed. It severed Twala's head from his neck in an instant. Gagool chased after the head. With the death of Twala, the tide turned. Victory finally came to Umbopa, but at what a cost of blood. I wish I could wipe my memory like a blackboard. Sir Henry, Umbopa, Infadoos, and I had all survived. But then, upon the ground, what should I see? Terribly blooded.
Good! Good! Good. Tell me you're all right.
All right. Bit bashed about, but I'm sure I'll be...
Good's recovery was slow, but sure. I had no idea just how indestructible was this tubby little man with his false teeth. He was tended by Fulata.
You talk so much of the ocean and boats, but I don't know what an ocean is, my lord.
I've told you before, call me John. Oh, the ocean, it's like the river that runs through Loo, but far bigger. Sort of a huge river that runs right round the world.
I should very much like to see such a thing, my lord.
Now, this, my lord's business, Fulata.
I have to clean the wound.
Do we have to do it now?
And think of other things. Tell me about your home in the faraway country. Do you have a woman there?
Well, yes, there's Mrs. Peveril, the cleaning lady. Cooks a bit too. But come to think of it, I don't suppose that's what you meant. No, I don't have a wife. Never have done.
But your wound grows well, John Good.
John Good. Ah, well, that, Fulata, is a distinct improvement.
I am glad you say so, my lord.
No, look here. I did... Oh, hang on. Are you teasing me? You are.
Come on, Good. We've got a meeting to go to.
And so Umbopa held a grand council, promising a new way of life to his people.
Twala is no more. And as long as you take me for your king, Twala's ways have gone. After a long night, the sun has risen. No man's blood shall be shed without trial, and witch hunting shall cease in this land.
It is well said, O king.
But one great mystery remained for us. The mines, deep in the mountain, to which King Solomon's road ran.
The great diamond on Twala's brow. That must have come from the mines.
If my brother did cross the desert and did come here in his impossible quest, he might possibly have left some trace of himself in the mines.
We have made our journey. It seems foolish not to complete it.
Whether it is riches you seek or a lost brother, you will need a guide to what they call the place of death.
You, Umbopa?
Oh, I know nothing of the mines. The secret died with Twala. Only one person can help you. Bring her here!
You! Usurped the king! And you killed my master!
And I will kill you with my own hands, if you do not help my friends.
Gagool led the way. Sir Henry and I were right behind her, and slightly behind us.
You shouldn't be with us, Fulata.
No. Whither you go, I go also, my lord.
Now, I've told you about this lord business.
It's only bats.
My friends from the darkness.
Fulata and Good, lost in each other.
The river at the end of my garden.
I would give anything to see it.
I keep a little skiff there. Rowing boat.
You have told me of them.
Well, we have a funny old tradition. We name them after women. And you know what I thought.
At length, we came to a vast cave, lit from 100 feet above by, I conjectured, shafts connected with the outer air, lined with what looked like pillars of ice, but were in reality huge stalagmites.
How much of this place is man's work and how much nature's? Like a cathedral, but greater than any cathedral ever built.
Even down to those side caves. Like chapels.
Come on. Let us be about our business. This way. You're about to come face to face with death.
And so we did. A massive stone table with a colossal white figure at its head and life-sized white figures all around it.
The kings of Kukuana land.
Hell's teeth.
Next, we saw a brown thing seated on the table in the center. The body of Twala, quite naked, the head which Sir Henry's battle axe had severed, resting upon its knees. And the endless, dripping sound.
The water, the white figures, their bodies calcified. Twala's body is being transformed into a stalagmite.
This is how we Kukuanas preserve our royal dead.
To our horror, Gagool scuttled across the table, bent down and kissed Twala's icy lips with a lover's relish.
And now, here is the chamber you seek.
But there's just a solid rock wall.
Do not jest with us, Gagool.
The solid rock wall was moving. It slid up into the ceiling. It must have weighed at least 20 or 30 tons, and was clearly moved upon some simple balance principle of counterweights. But how did Gagool trigger the counterbalances? Some hidden lever.
from the stars and look upon the bright stones that you seek so dearly.
Beware of the bright stones, John Good, and do not trust that woman.
I wouldn't invite her to my summer garden party.
Has any white man been in this chamber?
The secret has been kept between the kings, whomsoever they be, and Gagool. There, in that corner.
Help me, you chaps!
Diamonds, huge and uncut. What a richness and radiance. Some of them big as pigeons' eggs.
And in this box.
Gold.
We are the richest men in the world.
The bright stones. Run them through your fingers. Eat them. Drink them. There are other chests. More bright stones. See?
Yes. Ferrara, where are you? Come and see.
She betrays you! The stone falls!
The rock door was closing. Gagool wanted to trap us.
She has knife!
Then Gagool's knife was in Fulata. But Fulata clung on to Gagool's ankle. Nothing could stop her. Gagool, intent on trapping us, was caught in her own trap. The rock door slid down.
Fulata, my dearest girl.
John Good, hold me in your arms.
Fulata.
I met you. I loved you.
Oh, God. What can I do?
Take me to the garden of your house. What a place, such colors. At the end of your garden, you told me there is a river, and I think I can smell it. Yes, I can smell the water. Kiss me one more time. This kiss must last forever.
She's dead. She's dead. My poor dear fellow.
I'm sorry, Good. Damnably sorry. And the fact of the matter is, all of us will soon be joining her. Don't you see the simple truth of it? We're buried alive. No levers or secret springs. The stone door only opens from the outside.
He was right. The rock door had closed forever, and the only brain which knew its secret was crushed to pulp.
Well, let us divide the food and water. We'll eat and drink and be... For in about 2 days' time, we shall start to die.
The lamp began to dim. The fat was nearly exhausted.
Infadoos will miss us, surely.
Oh, yes. Soon he will begin to search for us.
He will search in vain. He does not know the secret of the door, nor even where it is. Even if he found the door, he could not break it down. My friends, I see nothing for it but to bow ourselves to the will of the Almighty.
The lamp is getting dimmer.
Then it flared up, and we saw the corpse of Fulata stretched upon the ground, and the glitter of diamonds like all the stars in the sky. And then, darkness. Absolute silence. Harry, you may have lain awake at night and thought the quiet oppressive, but I say with confidence that you can have no idea what a vivid, tangible thing is perfect stillness. On the surface of the earth there is always some sound or motion, and though it may in itself be scarcely perceptible, yet it deadens the sharp edge of absolute silence. But here there was none. We were buried in the bowels of a huge snow-clad peak. We were as men already in the grave.
The irony of it. We're rich beyond belief, and we'd give it all away for a cup of water.
I was rich beyond belief, and only now do I know it.
I am not a brave man, Harry, and the prospect of death by starvation in a pitch-black stone cell, for a while it paralyzed my very ability to think.
So much for my chances of ever seeing George again. And you, Quatermaine.
Harry is lost to me. Good. What are you doing?
Gagool's knife. I have taken it out of Ferrara. I have been thinking. The instrument by which I lost Ferrara, this might well be the instrument by which I find her again. I have some surgical training. I know the artery to cut. Just a heartbeat separates our two hearts. If I'm to die anyway, why wait?
No, stop! No, wait! No! Now listen to me! Have you noticed how the air in this place stays fresh?
Oh, what of it?
What are you getting at?
When Fulata died at the end of your garden.
Just a silly romantic fancy.
No, it wasn't. Remember, she smelt the water, and I think she really did. She meant it literally. She smelt the great river that runs under this mountain. There is air running into the chamber. There is, if the gods are on our side, another way out of this place.
She smelt the water.
We explored the chamber in pitch darkness. At one ghastly moment, I put my hand on something cold. Fulata's face. Perhaps my thinking was false.
Here. Here. On the floor, the stone sounds hollow. Over here, my friends.
There's a steel ring recessed into the stone.
Some sort of trapdoor. Let me try.
Nothing.
Damned hell.
Together, gentlemen. Quatermaine, Sir Henry, let us link hands through the ring. And 1, 2, 3, now!
My God. The first step of a stone stair. And you can smell the water.
God bless you, Ferrara.
Then, down the steps, a labyrinth of tunnels, the underground river. The tunnel we chose narrowed. Had we made a disastrous mistake? And then, miraculously...
Light! I can see light!
We pushed ourselves out of the narrowest of openings like a fox's earth. And we were out, Harry, under a starry night sky. I've never felt more alive. Just to be able to breathe fresh air. A luxury beyond all the luxuries that money can buy. And then we returned to the lights of the town to make our farewells.
Go! Go! Go!
Umbopa, King Ignosi, as he should be properly known, looked every inch a king. We spoke of what had happened in the mines, and the fate of Gagool, and Fulata.
Go now, ere my eyes rain tears like a woman's. At times, as you look back down the path of life, you will think of how we stood shoulder to shoulder in that great battle which thy wise words planned and won for me, Macumazahn.
Farewell, Umbopa.
Fare thee well forever, my lords and my friends. Sir Henry, I was once your right-hand man, eh? I would have you be my right-hand man here in Kukuana land.
Damn it, Umbopa, you know I cannot stay. Is it fit that I embrace a king?
Oh, it is.
You and I, we are men.
Oh, we are. Captain God, the most unexpected of warriors. Fulata, you and she. What a sorrow. Is it fit I should embrace a naval captain?
Just this once, eh?
Sir Henry, I have so much sadness about your brother.
Poor dear George. When we were trapped in the mines, I came to terms with his death.
Sir Henry, I sent out runners across the land. There was a faint rumor, but from a year ago, my bearers will lead you a different route across the mountain. Perhaps you will learn his fate.
Thank you.
Infadoos, you have done well. And you, my friends, fare thee well. Keep me in your hearts, as I will keep you in mine.
How does destiny work, Harry? I thought I'd grow wiser as I grew older, but I seem to know less and less. We were on the Suleimanberg, east side of the mountain, a stream, greenery, before we reached the desert. But what was this? A hut built in the middle of nowhere.
Great powers.
And from the hut limped a white man clothed in skins with an enormous black beard. He looked at us. His eyes widened. He hobbled forward.
It is my brother. My brother, George. George!
Henry? Henry!
His right leg was in a bad way. We learned his story. A desperate journey across the desert, a fall, a broken leg. His loyal bearer, Jim, looking after him.
Been here for a year. Living off the land, Jim and I.
Dear
like
fellow.
Robinson Crusoe waiting for rescue. Oh, what a mad man I was to pursue that dream. King Solomon's mines.
And not a dream. Clear that table.
Lord, that's a fortune.
One of us had to be practical. There's gold, too. Filled my pockets until they were bursting, and then my knapsack. We will all of us lack for nothing for the rest of our lives.
Oh, George, we could restore the old manor.
I'd like that more than anything. You and I.
I've always had a dream of running a modest yacht, you know, take her out on the Solent now and again.
I think you should do exactly that, Captain Good. I could also, following the naval tradition, suggest a name for your yacht.
How do you mean? Oh. Damn right. Should have liked that.
It's bitter cold, Harry, on the upper deck of the Ariadne. But I have my flask to ward off the chill. Night sky, dark as that treasure chamber, but glinting with stars and constellations. Captain Good could no doubt have told me their names. But Captain Good, Sir Henry, and George had gone on ahead of me. I had much sorting of my affairs in Durban to attend to, shutting down the house and selling it. That sky. I wonder if there are other worlds out there, the way some of the fanciful writers would have us believe. I feel I have been in quite another world these last 2 months. Perhaps these last many years. Umbopa, Infadoos, Gagool, Twala, Scragga, they almost seem like people from a dream. But it wasn't a dream. I lived this story and survived to tell it. Heavy ocean swell, tiny reflections of stars waltzing in the sea. I'm becoming quite the poet, Harry. Or maybe it's Sir Henry's excellent brandy. Hope you've been keeping the grass in check in the big meadow. Of course you have. Another 3 weeks, and I'll be home. And so this journal ends. Your loving father, Allan Quatermaine.
In King Solomon's Mines, adapted from the Rider Haggard novel by Chris Harrald, Allan Quatermaine was played by Tim McInnerny, Sir Henry Curtis by David Sturzaker, Captain John Good by Simon Ludders, Umbopa by Sope Dirisu, and Infadoos by Maynard Eziashi. Twala was Femi Olufuwuju Jr., Scragga Tonderai Munyevu, Gagool Adjoa Andoh, Fulata Emanuela Cole, and George was Finlay Robertson. King Solomon's Mines was directed by Liz Webb.
I remember a film version of King Solomon's Mines, which was planned as part of a trilogy, but only the first two were made. Richard Chamberlain, Dr. Kildare, was Allan Quatermaine. Now, I think of that as quite a recent film. It was released in 1985. Ecads. Well, next week we present Carmilla, a vampiric tale of eternal life, which, considering how quickly time seems to be flying these